Well, baby, you've been on my mind. I think about you all the time. Oh, I want to see your face.
Oh my God, Dan, smell this. He goes, I don't know which one has tequila in it.
This last bout.
It has tequila in it.
But I had it in 2020.
For sure.
And I came back from Key West and had it.
We all did.
And
We
like had
fucking
I had a
all
fever
did.
and chills for 6 days. I was like, what is going on?
Me
And the
too.
doctor was like, it's just a really bad flu.
I didn't have
And then
shit.
a month later,
I didn't know I had COVID until I went to get a test to fly to Canada, and found out that day that I wasn't flying to Canada.
And he found out he's pregnant.
I got a test. I'm like,
What?
I seriously got my results. I'm like, what? And I'm like, So then I went the next day. 3 days after my test, I got like a little congestion.
Yep. Beautiful.
And my cough didn't come till like 3 days ago.
Hey, I'm still waiting on my Sleep Better Austin hat. I thought you were ordering me one. I'm being dead serious. You want me wearing your shit, right?
Yeah, I do. Should I wear the fattest hat?
No, I like what you wear. You can wear whatever you want.
What am I wearing?
You're
With some
sure.
straights? With some straights.
You can wear whatever you want. I change it up just, I love her. And I'm going to say goodbye to her at Key West because she's going to be huge. She is huge. She's
Gonna be huge.
doing stadium tours with what's his name? God, I can't think of his name. Big
That was
fat
pretty
guy.
good.
Yeah, it's
I thought it was very good.
Yeah. Can I go put this with the rest of the wine?
yeah. You can do whatever you
It
want.
doesn't
I like how you're holding on. So which one is you? One you have and the one you wish you had.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably drink. You think I should drink some wine with the Wagyu burgers tonight?
It's a good idea.
No, I
Or
don't.
some electric jellies?
Ooh.
You know, a little 4-pack of
Yeah,
electric jellies,
yeah.
like $18 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
And I'll do it every time I see him. Electric jellies, sure.
Well, what does she
Dan,
want?
did you hear the story this morning?
What does she want? Oh.
No. What story? I mean, maybe.
I ran into my ex-wife at the grocery store this morning.
Oh my, no.
It's such a good story.
So
It really.
We're
We
rolling.
won't. No.
We are
I
rolling.
don't
I'll
want
just
this
cut
on.
it.
I don't want
I'll
this
just
on
cut it,
podcast. I'm putting
So,
whatever
I've determined
authority
this
I
one.
have.
No, this doesn't matter.
No, it does to me.
No,
You don't want to have this on the podcast.
nobody knows anything. So I go to Whole Foods and I realize, and I'm of kind of the opinion now that I've been vaccinated. I've had COVID.
Herpes.
I've had all the other things that you could possibly deal with. That, masks may not necessarily be necessary for me. I'm okay without the mask at the grocery store. And since we live in Texas, which is a free country,
It is. Texas is a free
Now.
country.
welcome to the free country of Texas, by the way,
Until we go to war.
John.
Yeah. Soon.
That I can go into Whole Foods, but I've determined that the type of people that shop at Whole Foods most frequently are probably the type of people that are triple, quadruple vaxxed,
Yeah,
You're
liberal. They're from
14
California, living over
masks on, and all that kind of shit.
here. Dan, make sure to help him out. Bubba.
Yeah,
So-
I actually have a lot of things I need to.
I come in and I'm getting like my kumquats,
I love that word.
and as I'm shopping for I've got my cabbage and my peppers and my kumquats, and then and
No one else is coming in, or it keeps the air up.
I'm looking around like there's no other normal people in this building. They're all wearing masks.
Give him some tequila.
I'm working on that right now.
You tell him. You're
And
talking.
then, so I see this one other guy, and I'm like, oh, there's another normal person.
thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So I give him the Prius Wave. You remember?
Yeah, what, yeah.
That's from.
I'm assuming it's something like.
No,
this.
no, no, no. It's who's the guy?
The guy,
The creator of Seinfeld,
Larry
Larry
David.
David.
Larry David. His other show, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, the
So he
Prius.
has an episode where he talks about like when you see he drives a Prius, and so when you see somebody else who drives a Prius, like there's a common bond, and you automatically have to have like the wave, like the Harleys. So, they
I
do
was
the
gonna say,
yeah.
Gee.
So I give him like the no mask wave. I'm like, or the nod. It's like, hey, we're both normal. That's cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever. And then I go around the corner and I see this other woman who is also not wearing a mask. I'm like, oh, there's another normal person. So I kind of give her the nod. And then
I'll get Dan.
and then she like looks at me, but I've got my headphones in and I'm just kind of jamming out. I got my list and I'm like checking off my list. So I just like quick nod, look, and then I go down, acknowledge the non-mask. And then she walks straight up to me and she's like in my face, hello. And I look up and I'm like, Oh,
I was married to you.
it was my ex-wife.
Hey, Nikki wore fucking sunglasses the whole fucking episode.
Yeah, I've been on him about that.
If you want to, you can.
No.
I didn't even know him when I told him something in the kitchen that was like my first thing I said. I was like, sunglasses, huh?
When your future's that bright, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, man.
I think-
Or your
I
last
have a great
night
story
was that
about- I have a
long.
great story about Eric Church when I was in college. He played my best friend, one of my roommates, played a what do you need?
I'm just gonna swap these.
He
I think
played,
I do need to.
We're gonna cross
We are
streams.
gonna cross streams for musicians. I think
Okay.
this is gonna be.
Yeah.
I think that actually works. Dan, handsome Dan, way to go.
Your voice just went really high.
And then whenever you're ready, I just.
I'm still dealing with
I'm still telling the
The
transition.
the transition, and my hormones are still not in
Oh,
control.
your wine's right here. I just
Oh.
sat there out of the shit up here.
Should we take it to the kitchen?
Would you like me to?
Well, we can do that later. Just don't forget it.
I would never forget.
Dude, I was looking at those pictures the other day that you sent, Dan.
Okay.
Whenever Dan sent all those pictures,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And there's-
how funny were they? How
there's some
funny
good
were
ones, and there's a couple of them.
they? Where I look completely gay.
Well, that too,
Right.
but there's a couple of them where the confetti
I know.
is just all over
It
us,
is.
Everywhere.
Dude, it's still in here.
and it's
Yeah,
like
it is
nobody
so-
cares.
That was
Yeah.
when I used to work for a production company.
Yeah, this guy
New Year's.
with the
I
glasses.
know. New Year's Eve gigs were the worst because they'd always have confetti, and you would spend the rest of your year.
Days later.
No,
Look at me.
months.
I'm having a
months
serious
later.
conversation with Dr. Breed, and
Uh-huh.
I just have confetti all over.
Well, actually, that was after this shoot, but yeah, that was.
Yeah, months later, you just find confetti in speaker cabinets, in road cases, and you're just like,
All from New Year's Eve.
All right,
yeah.
we're ready to do this. We're gonna
ready.
roll.
Yep.
All right, here we are. Another
Back again.
back again.
that's right.
It's been a while.
It has. It seems like forever.
It seems
Minutes
like
even.
minutes.
No, we are so honored to have a special guest today. But before we mention our guests, what in the heck are we drinking, Brandon?
So I'll tell you what we're drinking today. This is,
Beautiful cubes, by the way. I'm
thank
being
you.
serious.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you like my rocks.
No, seriously.
The what we're drinking today is a tequila,
Mhm.
and it is obviously it's a tequila, so it's not from Texas. It's from Mexico.
That's okay.
It's called Grand Mayan tequila. It's ultra aged and it's very special,
Okay.
according to the bottle. Right
Oh,
here.
okay.
It's a beautiful bottle.
It is.
Did my mom write that logo? She says I'm very special.
Yeah, she might have. We'll have to talk to her. But no, this was a gift to me. This was a Christmas gift to me from Dr. Chuck Tozer,
Thank you,
who's
Dr.
in
Chuck.
Southern California. So thank you, Dr. Tozer, if you're watching this.
Thank you, Doctor.
Shout out to Dr. Tozer. He's one of my IAOS members and clients.
Yep.
And he's doing great things down there in Southern California with sleep apnea and treating sleep apnea
What part of
patients.
Southern California?
You know, you would ask that.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I apologize.
I'm going to say
San
somewhere
Diego or South.
LA,
Okay.
Orange County.
I was up in Valencia for a while. So.
Somewhere around
Okay.
there.
Well, we know
But he
he's in
tells
Southern-
me, he says, listen, this is not like your college tequila. You don't shoot this and you don't need a lime. It's a sipping
Yeah.
tequila.
All right.
And I can't say I've ever had much sipping tequila, but we'll see whose clothes come off
Ooh,
first
I
today.
have. And so our guest today is a good friend of mine, an amazing musician out of Nashville, Tennessee,
Mhm.
and John Goolsby. And so we're going to be getting in today, talking a little bit about music, talking a little bit about sleep, talking about our history, and we're going to be drinking some tequilas. So, Mr. Goolsby, thank you for sleeping around.
Cheers. Thank
Cheers.
you,
Dr.
guys.
Brandon and Matthew, man. Sipping.
you.
Sipping.
Sipping tequila. And Handsome Dan.
Handsome Dan.
All right.
Here, come here, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Your team. Here we go.
Hair chink. Handsome Dan.
Oh, and you had it in the refrigerator too.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good.
this is going to be a good podcast, everybody.
I hate tequila. This is fantastic.
Good.
Right?
Sipping.
Yeah. It's very good.
There's more cameras, and it seems like the angles have changed.
I know.
What's
I feel
going
like
on?
There is.
We've got it.
I feel like you're in the Matrix, and like the cameras are all flying out at you.
No, we've got the wide. We've got the tight on both of you two.
Tight.
We've got the tight on both of you two.
If it ain't tight, it ain't right.
That's right.
Handsome Dan.
And then this is my.
And that's your okay.
My backup.
So wait, if the camera adds 20 pounds, is that 80 pounds right there for me? That's going to be a problem.
I thought it was
I don't
10
need the help.
pounds.
Jeez.
I thought it was 10 pounds.
Maybe 10 pounds for you. It's 20
Oh.
for me.
All right. So,
So yeah,
Dan,
let's jump in. Let's jump in.
John,
So,
thanks for coming, man.
My pleasure. Thank you,
Nashville,
guys.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, I I moved there full time almost 3 years ago.
Okay.
It just kind of got to the point where somebody would call and say, "Hey, you want to write this afternoon, or do you want to have lunch this afternoon?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm swamped today. I live in Kansas City, but maybe tomorrow. Can we do tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, okay. Well, let's just do it a month from now." And as that started to happen once a week,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, I need to.
If I'm
be
going to do
down
this,
there.
I just
And
need to
one
be
of-
there.
One of my best friends in town, when I was looking to move, and was asking him, like, you think I'm doing this? And he goes, the number one rule of Nashville is must be present to win.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so that's the rule. And so
Yep.
if you're not there,
If you're not there, it
you're
ain't
missing
happening.
out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of tie-in here. So
Mm-hmm.
one of our most popular episodes so far was Miss Bishop, and you were a direct referral.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Not only is she a friend of the podcast, but has become a friend of ours, and
Yeah.
so she's doing some amazing things over there now.
She makes a good friend.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, and so horrible to look at. I mean, I don't know how y'all stay.
I tell you
and-
what, she's been doing some side hustle stuff with me, working for the corporate event band
Yeah.
that I helped found.
Right.
And we've spent days in the car together, and I got to tell you, it's rough.
Oh, I know. I get sent videos. I will tell you something. So you don't know this. If you do, this is pretty cool. The first time I ever met you wasn't in Key West.
Mhm.
I used to work for a company called Phillips. Anybody who's a fan of our podcast, by the way, forgot to say, please like and subscribe. Thank you guys.
Click the
for
buttons,
being-
do the things.
Yeah,
Smash it,
I don't
as
know.
the kids
Write a
say.
review.
Smash it.
Smash it. Yeah.
Savage.
I was working for Phillips, and our regional manager happened to be up in the Kansas City area, and he loved to have our regional meetings up at this casino up there called the Argosy. And so
I've been there.
a great friend of ours is Casey Cobb. Casey also worked for Phillips. His wife's an amazing singer, Raina Cobb. They will soon be on our podcast. And we were sitting at the bar one night, and he goes, "Man, I got this friend that's meeting me. He's an amazing musician. Matthew, you sure you've never heard of him?" I go, "Man, I don't know Goolsby." And you came up
Mm-hmm.
to the and we sat at the bar,
And
maybe drank a little too much.
yeah, I.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I've actually, between you and Casey and Kyle Carter,
Yeah.
have drank in more casinos over the last 6 years of my life than ever in my life.
Well, Kyle will tend to do that. So the official introduction was that that night. I know that I've seen you a bunch of times at Cobfest, or one time, excuse me.
Yeah, one time.
But the most powerful, and it's coming up, so by the time this airs, it'll already be over with, is Mile Zero Fest.
Yeah.
And the inaugural year, man, it was so awesome seeing you in that theater off of Duval, brother.
Thank you.
And through this time, and hopefully I don't come off braggadocious. What's the word if you're bragging? too
Well,
much?
you know,
braggadocious.
yeah.
I am so blessed with so many good friends that are so talented. You've just been a part of my life ever since, and love your music, love your writing, and what an honor
Thank you,
for you
man.
to come in and be on our
Yeah,
podcast.
it's my
brother.
pleasure. I really appreciate you guys having me. I've been looking forward to this ever since Matthew asked me, and from the first episode in, and,
Yep.
and I do love, like, one of the things I love is that you guys both have a shared love of music, but then also as a musician who has terrible sleep patterns just by the nature of my work.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I woke up, I went to bed I had a gig last night. I went to bed at 1:30 and I woke up at 5,
Yep.
and it's just like, okay, so I'll just be tired today.
Yeah.
Like, that's
It's
that's
just
how
you're-
this goes.
you
Well,
just
it's
kind of
funny
accept it.
because we do have musicians who come in. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've watched the other podcasts, and they're so good to us because they really like. And you even text me like, "I'm getting on the plane." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Thank God he texted me."
yeah.
He made the flight.
Yeah.
He made the flight.
So you mentioned how braggadocious.
Thank you.
You
Is
are.
that how you say it?
I think that's what they say.
Because I don't even know if that's a real word.
But I'll tell you, my grandma Cindy,
Okay.
used to tell me, she'd say, "Brandon, there's no such thing as bragging.
Okay.
You're either lying or you're telling the truth."
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
I like it a lot too.
Mhm.
I like that a lot.
So I've used that a time or two from Grandma Cindy.
Well, I'm not lying. This is a special.
That's I
friend of
didn't
mine.
think you were.
Yeah, this
And
is-
knowing and meeting your friends, I know you're not.
Yeah. So John, let's just jump in. So one of the things that Brent and I, thank you for saying that, we have a passion for music.
Yeah.
And I'm going to steal Brandon's question. We're going to switch it up a little bit.
Oh, boy.
But when did you start your love of music, and how did it start?
Well, like most people, I was born at a young age. And,
I like that.
I can't. That's an old Groucho Marx.
That
joke.
is an old one.
I'm dating myself a little bit here.
Okay.
I honestly, my dad and mom have cassette tapes of me and my sister singing in harmony when I was like 2 or 3.
Wow.
I've always loved singing, loved music. I probably get it more from my mom. My dad he was a farmer in Oklahoma, hereditarily hard of hearing, his side of the family. When I ride in the car with my dad, if I don't turn some music on, there's no music on.
Wow.
But my mom has music on all day, every day.
Yeah.
And she loves music. And so I've just been, I think I did my first, solo at church or whatever when I was 7 or 8.
Wow.
And started playing in youth group band. The middle school, high school, they needed an extra soprano. And so I started singing when I was in like 6th grade.
Wow.
My sister wasn't happy about that because she was a soprano too. So she was like, this is,
Yeah, but this is
come on.
before puberty. It's okay.
I was a soprano until I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And then I went straight to baritone.
Yeah.
So I've always loved it. I didn't really start playing guitar until college. When I realized that if I want to play shows, I can either pay a guitar player or I can teach myself how to do this and save some money.
Okay.
So that was kind of part of it. And then writing songs, I probably started really writing songs in junior year of high school. Went through several iterations. I wanted to be, John Mayer. John Mayer through most of college.
Yeah. I think all of us wanted to be John Mayer around that time, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to see him like right before everything really took off for him. And was just like, I actually had kind of a mental health episode in college because I was going to be a lawyer and I, was going to this school on the East Coast and just started really having a freak out about like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I love this other thing,
right?
But I've made my boasts about I'm going to be a lawyer. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of emotional immaturity at that age, and finally after 2 different colleges and like 7 years, I dropped out with about 20 hours left, and just said this
isn't for me.
Well, it's all of this is always going to be there.
Yeah.
But if I don't do this and really make a go at it, I don't want to live in regret.
Nice.
And so if I have to go back to school when I'm in my 30s, and I gave my, as 20 somethings do, I gave myself by 32, if I'm not playing in arenas and I'm done doing this stuff. And then like my 34th birthday, I was just like, what an idiot. Like, I'm not playing arenas, but I'm having a blast.
Yeah. You realize you don't need arenas.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get to, write with some of my best friends. I get to write with people that I idolize. I get to write music with people that are just bringing me up a level almost every time we get together. And so I write, it's my day job. So writing music is my day job. I know. And it's funny. Always Nashville kind of shuts down from like the week before Thanksgiving until the end of the year. And I had like a string of like starting the 1st of November, cancel, all these writing dates. And I'm like, maybe I should just, I don't know, I'll just hang it up for the year. And then like the last 3 songs that I got in December were just like, I'm so glad. Awesome. It's just you get to have those moments and get to writing a song is there's not many other things in life that I can equate it to, except maybe, and this is going to sound really weird, but mowing your yard.
Okay.
Do
You start with what you can envision being great looking or something, or a job well done.
Right.
And the thing about songwriting is that even if you like over 3 hours and you pop a song out and you love it, and there are times when you write a song and you get done, and at least for me, where it's just like we got done and I'm like, I'm never playing this song. Like, this is kind of a trash song. That has happened less since I've gotten better. I think a lot of that was me. just not being a good enough writer or communicator in those moments. But sometimes, you know, they're one of the songs I'll play later. I mean, it took us almost 3 months.
Wow.
One day a week for like 4 hours at a time, 8 different sessions. So 2 months to get it where we knew it was great.
And John, what we do, you know, usually when we have these musicians come in, you know, we ask about that process. But before we get there, I kind of want to back up a little bit. I know you do too. So you grew up in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I grew up in Missouri.
Missouri.
I grew up in a little
ahead.
town, called St. Joseph.
Okay.
Where the Pony Express began and Jesse James ended, and that is legitimately the
That's
town
a
motto.
great.
That's the town
t-shirt.
motto.
That's it.
It's like, oh man, it is like it is, but it's just growing up there. It's like I was telling somebody the other day, it's the town that wouldn't die. It's like a cockroach or a Twinkie, man.
Now, where's St. Joseph at? It's outside.
It's an hour north of Kansas City.
So it's north of Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you mentioned Oklahoma farmer.
Yeah, I got that.
My dad's from Guthrie,
Okay.
which is right smack dab in the middle.
It is.
He's born and raised there, and so I spent a ton of summers going down to the family farm, you know, before my grandpa sold it, when he retired, and ended up knowing. I mean, like how I met our friend Kyle Carter is. I was going to play a show in Dallas with Turnpike Troubadours.
Yep.
And I stopped into Yukon, Oklahoma on a Monday night. I'm a full-time musician. I got the time. And one of the guys from Cross Canadian Ragweed,
Grady's 66.
Grady Cross opened up this bar, and I thought, I've met Grady a couple times. I'll see if I can go play there. I walk in, and first of all, the thing you got to know about Oklahoma is they got the most messed up liquor laws. I mean, them in Kentucky, like honestly, like they're the worst, which is so funny. Kentucky is like
All
the
the
home
bourbon.
of bourbon,
Yeah.
but you can't buy it there. You got to. So I walk in and I'm like, I guess I'm having a beer because that's all they have there.
Yeah.
They can't. Apparently, within like certain
Not anymore.
square footage. Oh yeah. Back then. So anyway, I'm standing at the bar and I feel this kind of tap on my shoulder, and I turn around and I look up, and this guy goes, "Are you in?
No.
Am I in what? Ping pong tournament?" I was like,
Oh,
Dale, yeah, I am.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
come on. And met Kyle that night and became fast friends. He used to host a Sunday evening thing
The revival.
at Grady's called Sunday Night Revival. And I would stay with him. We would go to Ishins the next day and just,
right.
you know,
Some good
and
chicken
then
and
I
beer.
also-
You want to talk
but I
about?
also had a lot of friends that went to Oklahoma State. And so I'd Stillwater.
Yep,
And then I haven't really played much in Tulsa, but my Oklahoma kind of red dirt Americana roots really kind of started there.
so that's where. What was your influence? Was that more of your influence, you think, or did you have an influence earlier to that from like
Good
Kansas
question.
City? Because Kansas City's more of kind of a more of a blues, more of a jazz.
Yeah. So my influences are. I used to describe my sound as kind of a country soul,
Okay.
and now I just say American music.
Yeah.
So
I
I am.
get you.
I
Yeah.
am. You know, Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, but also Tom Petty,
Steve
John
Earl.
Mellencamp.
I think you're Steve. I was going to
Yeah.
say Cam.
I mean,
yeah,
so
Steve
there's a
Earl.
lot of older. I mean, my mom is a huge Eagles fan. James Taylor is one of my biggest influences, especially at a younger age. You know, when I was really starting to write my own stuff in college. So the thing that I loved about the red dirt scene, especially, and I know we're in Texas, and God bless Texas, but I always felt like I remember the first time I saw John Fulbright play at the deli in Norman, Oklahoma on a Monday night. And it's just like that. I mean, there's a reason his first record ever was Grammy nominated.
Yeah.
You know, that is pure
that good?
talent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got John Moreland and you got, but then, you know, I also, there's just
Wow. So
a
you
very
did lean
unique-
in on the Oklahoma scene.
a very unique Okie.
Yep.
I mean, Jason Boland, even though I don't play country music, the same style of country music that he does,
Yeah.
still one of my favorite songwriters.
Yeah.
Well, I love how country music can be almost anything and everything.
True,
You know?
especially now.
And I used to go watch Jack all the time, Ingram.
Yeah.
And that was one thing, he always would say in every show is like, my name's Jack Ingram and I play country music.
Yeah.
And like half the shit he plays doesn't sound like country music.
I know, right?
But it's country music, you know? And that's, and so, cause country music's more about the story, about the feel than it is a sound.
Yeah. I feel like one of the things, living in Nashville, especially, Nashville really there's an old story from the 50s about the Nashville Sound. You've heard that phrase. And this journalist was asking a session musician, well, what is the Nashville Sound? And he put his hand in his pocket and shuffled his change around. He goes, that's the Nashville Sound.
It's true.
And so Nashville's always going to be kind of what the trends are. And so as pop music starts to meld with everything else these days, the top 40 stuff was always going to kind of sound like that. But then now the pendulum's starting to swing a little bit with Luke Combs and Haley Witters and
more. Like there's,
Yeah.
so speaking of Luke Combs, I'm
Yeah.
wearing my shirt. So Morgan's my girl.
Yeah.
And she's going to be at Mile Zero Fest probably for the last year. She's opening up for Luke Combs now.
Yeah.
Like stadiums.
Yep.
And I remember seeing this little tattooed, amazing artist.
Yeah.
And now, but will she change her style? Her
I don't
style
think
is
so.
her own.
I don't think so because that's
Yeah.
the beautiful, like you said, the beautiful thing about country music. For me, country music is based in reality.
Sure.
So it can be a longing for what's not reality, but most of what I consider real classic country themes are loss and heartbreak, but also hard work and contentment.
Blue collar. It's blue collar music.
Yeah. And I think that's something that you can honestly look at and go, no other genre. I mean, as much as I love jazz music.
Well, I was going to say blues kind of hits on that.
Yeah, blues does too, but
Right.
but anymore because of the electric guitar, it's become more so about the rock and roll side of blues.
Yeah.
Whereas
Which
country
I dig. Which I dig.
Yeah.
I
Well,
dig.
and I mean, there, and Kansas City's got some great. You got
Yes,
Smith
they
the
do.
Fish. You got Brandon Miller. You got Danielle Nicole. You've got some great up and comers in the blues scene coming out of Kansas City. But the themes of country music to me are still what draw me in. And I've got some of my best friends in Nashville that do a thing. If you guys are ever in Nashville, come on a Sunday and Monday.
Okay.
Because you don't have to deal with all the tourist bullshit.
Wait. They have bachelorette parties there. I heard it was the number one destination.
Oh yeah, it is.
So what night did they go there?
Friday and Saturday.
So Dan, we'll go weekend. We'll spend
Yeah,
a
and
long
then
weekend.
stay
and then we'll
over.
stay
And then
Sunday,
stay over.
Monday.
Stay
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
You'll feed your eyes on Friday and Saturday. You'll feed your soul on Sunday and
I
Monday.
plan on
There you
feeding
go.
something else, but I mean,
So my-
eyes
yeah,
and
you're-
soul, that's great, right? Handsome Dan, help
Feed
me out
this on
here.
Pants.
Gotta feed the loins. You know what loins means?
You're mispronouncing lions, I think.
Oh, loins.
Wait, who are we feeding the loins to?
The bachelorette parties.
Yeah, I didn't say bachelor party.
No, I know.
Calm down.
They probably have that too.
Oh yeah.
If whatever floats
Oh,
your
I
boat.
have several friends from
I'll
Kansas City.
pause.
So, Nashville-
Hold on. So where do you
Well,
play on
they
that?
just
Yeah.
these guys play. I mean, first of all, they're in their mid-20s,
Wow.
and they are playing.
Like George Jones?
Oh yeah, like George Jones, Hank Jr.,
There we go.
Waylon
Awesome.
Jennings.
There you go. Outlaws.
Merle Haggard. I mean,
There you go.
my friend Sam Banks, one of the best singer-songwriters I've ever known in my life, is 26, 27.
Wow.
And he's already got a Craig Morgan cut. He's going to be having a lot of other cuts coming up too in the next couple years. But that guy knows
Old school.
every Merle Haggard song pretty much ever recorded. You could be like, hey, what about,
Something.
yada, yada, yada. Some B-side off of, like a mid-70s cut. And he's like, yeah, okay. And he'll just start playing it. And you're
Oh
just like,
wow.
it just,
It's
it's
just so
amazing.
awesome for
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah. And then other guys that are just,
So where do y'all play at on Sunday, Monday? Is it
So the
Bluebird or
local-
do-
the
oh,
local.
Okay.
the local is a bar and grill, but
Okay.
they do the 3-hour shows, the 4-hour
Okay.
shows, but it's kind of off the beaten Broadway path.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, if you've never been in Nashville, spend a night on Broadway.
Sure.
And
Get
then
it out of
I'll
your
tell
system.
tell you where to go
Yep.
if you want to listen to great country
Yep.
music.
Yeah.
You go north of the Opry
Mm-hmm.
complex to Scoreboard and Music City. They're
I mean, you got to hit the rhyme, you got to hit
yeah.
the, you got to hit the
Wednesday night at Music City, the Music City Playboys play from 6 to 10 p.m.
No.
And it is Merle Haggard's drummer, Keith Whitley's keys player,
Jeez.
Alan Jackson's pedal steel player.
Oh wow.
Like just,
Yeah.
and literally not an iPad on a stage.
Awesome.
No notes, no nothing.
Yeah.
4 hours of just request after request. If it's from 1950 to 1985, they know it.
Yeah.
Hell, they probably played on it. You know, it's just
That's awesome.
it's just the coolest thing. And to see that kind of talent. And so coming from Kansas City and knowing how I wanted to get better, it's the best down there.
You know, my mom just moved to Nashville a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And it's,
What part of town is she
Franklin.
Yeah.
And it's breaking my heart because they're the number one. They were the number one like help for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're not here. But huge move for them, and they love it
How old are your
because
kids?
11 and 7.
So the 11-year-old can help the 7-year-old on the plane, and you can ship them off to grandma.
That's what's going to happen. We're planning spring break right now.
I love this.
exactly. And my 7-year-old actually will make sure the 11-year-old gets there.
If I'd ever
Yeah.
met any of my kids, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. But they have like their church, like one of their local churches, just every week on Thursday night or whatever it is, they have like the local musician, like whatever, and they have people come in, and they, you know, there's just so much support, and it reminds me a lot of Austin because Austin's
Yeah.
such a good music town, and you can go see so many different people at any time. But go into there's this idea, and maybe as a music consumer or as a fan of country music, you kind of see it more, but it seems like there's this, we have the Oklahoma red dirt, we have the Texas country, and then we have the Nashville. And it seems like the consumers of music tend to gravitate one way or another. And maybe it's just pride. I'm a Texan, so I love Texas music, and I love all of it.
Yeah.
But there is that feel. And then the second anybody moves to Nashville, it's like, oh, you fucking sell out, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, you felt, I know.
I'm not going to.
So I can jump on this too.
I'm
Go ahead.
gonna try and stay like Switzerland here.
Okay.
Because I have friends on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of Mile Zero since day one.
Yep.
I mean, shit. I was the second person Kyle told I have this idea.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you need help with? I'm the one who introduced him to Jeremy Dixon
Yep.
production
Yep.
that does all the production for it. And that's because with
I
my
was in
friends,
Steamboat.
yeah,
Yeah,
with
so-
my friends,
Yep.
like, how can I help? What
Yeah.
can I do? And so having come from Kansas City and played, I mean, we'll get this out of the way because I'm sure somebody's going to bring it up at some point in time. But my first country band that I was in, we were called Shooting Blanks. I know. Now,
I'm familiar with that now.
the best part is that we weren't. It was very tongue in cheek because our bass player ruined it by having a kid.
Damn it.
How ironic.
I know, right? Bass players, what are you gonna do? But I mean, I used to play Oklahoma and Texas and do the whole thing, and I've met some incredible singer songwriters and some incredible artists and musicians. One of my best friends from Texas originally, Cody Angel, you know, got his start playing with Jason Boland. Has played with just about everybody now. Cody moved to Nashville about a year ago.
He moved during COVID.
His first gig in Nashville was with Josh Turner.
Nice.
He went from playing with Jason Boland
to Josh Turner.
to Josh Turner, Country Music Hall of Fame,
Yep.
first ballot, you know,
Yeah.
and because he's talented, because he's really good. But he and I both, as I'm going to try and stay neutral here, as a consumer, I understand what you're saying. As a musician and as a songwriter, a lot of consumers in Texas go, screw Nashville.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the business in Nashville goes, Texas who?
Yeah.
So I think there is
You know.
and I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think there's such a line there. One of my goals for this podcast with Brandon is to promote these people that not too many people know about, right?
Yeah.
Like my buddy Jack.
Yeah.
right? Like you, I want to get you out there. And the goal is not for us to go Nashville versus the red dirt
Yeah.
scene. It's to say, listen, there's so much good stuff going on.
And that's
in
what
between.
we say.
And if we would just recognize it, but here's the issue. There's so many loyal fans to red dirt.
Yeah.
I know.
And you would be silly. There's a reason Randy Rogers, I'll say this on camera, will sell out every night, all he ever wants to, all through Texas, Oklahoma, a little bit of Louisiana, Arkansas, that.
Mhm.
He'll sell out Mile Zero. He'll do these festivals. There's a reason Mark Broussard could go to New York and California and sell
Mhm.
out
And overseas.
and overseas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Randy does well. His family
Yeah.
does well.
But he doesn't have to. Wade Bowen and I have had this conversation
Yeah.
because when he comes up, when I was still living in Kansas City, he would come up to Kansas City.
Mhm.
He'd play for 300-400 people.
Yeah.
I would be the opener
Yep.
and have half the crowd there to see
Yep.
me.
Yep.
And I'm going,
It's strange.
how much are you getting paid tonight? He's like, doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I'm like, must be nice, you know, like
Right.
I'm always worried about what I'm getting
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can, and he very graciously told me what he makes.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. I mean, and as somebody who, you know, put that deadline on, if I'm not selling out arenas,
Right.
man, my goals have changed in the sense that
Oh,
I
I
know how
wanna
much I
jump
would
in.
like to make a year.
You know, I want to jump into that.
But-
the
but
statement you made.
I'm content in a more blue collar role,
Well-
even as a musician.
Well,
than I used
then,
to
then
be.
let me
Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
jump forward. So last year, Mile Zero Fest, Kyle Carter, the person he's talking about, my best friend, growing up, and we're really close, put on this festival. Well, last year it got pushed back because of COVID, so they ended up having it instead of January, they ended up having it in into April into May. And we do this thing, I've said this on the podcast before, where we invite people to our house, these singer-songwriters, and it's the greatest show.
Mhm.
Man, I know going to Mile Zero is important, but man, this is one-on-one. And you came in and like you have before, and you told this amazing story of what COVID taught you. And it touched me and my father so much. Like, I think we even videoed what, you know, kind of a talk up, but you were just like, man, can you share with our audience what you shared that day and what COVID taught you about what's, dude, it was
Yeah.
so powerful. I'm getting chill. Like, it was so powerful.
So my nature is pretty blue collar. My dad's former farmer, pastor now. My mom is an educator. I grew up in a blue collar town.
Mm-hmm.
My identity has always somewhat been wrapped up in being a hard worker. And one of the big things that COVID taught me is that, because it starts and I'm sitting there going, I just lost $60,000 this year
Mhm.
and I have no income. I guess I'm just going to go work at Amazon. And this is what I'm going to do. And in my group of friends, remember that scene in Anchorman where you eat that cat poop? You eat that.
cat
What you
poop.
say about my city? We always, when it comes to like having to do like the shit job, we'll go, I'll eat the cat poop.
Right.
So in 2020, I'm like, I'll just eat the cat poop and go get a 9-to-5. Then I talked to one of my best friends, Dustin Ransom, who is
Mhm.
one of the most incredible musicians you're ever going to meet anywhere, in any city, all over the world. And he said, I think you need to challenge your value and challenge the way you perceive yourself, because what you have to offer as a songwriter and as a singer and as an entertainer holds more value than you going and putting food on your table.
Yep.
And I'm like, but if I'm not eating, and he was like, I think you'll be surprised.
Yep.
And I was doing live shows, and I hate doing Instagram shows and Facebook shows because I love interacting.
Yep.
And when it's funny, I watch content creators and people like that do these things where it's like they're interacting with everybody on the screen and talking. And I love what John Mayer does with
Yeah.
you know, Current Mood and some of these different things. I just can't do that. I can't stare at the screen and see everyone. So I would do these live streams and I would get done and I would just be incredibly defeated. Like, I'm sure I missed somebody popping in
Yeah.
and not saying hi. And so I would do the whole Venmo and PayPal and, hey, if you're feeling generous, if you're able to, and I would wait until the next morning just because I wanted to remove myself from the disappointment of my performance and all that kind of stuff. And every week I would just be humbled and blown away by people's generosity. And one of my best friends from college, a couple different times, just popped in and donated ungodly amounts of money. And I'm going, stop it. And he goes, I'm still working and I'm doing just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, then tell me some favorite songs. He goes, I don't care.
I don't care.
I love what you do.
Yeah.
I want you to know.
Play Little Pink Houses for 500.
Yeah. And those are the kind of, my gratitude, it rebirthed me with music. Because now it's almost like, people that have near death experiences, and it's like, or you beat cancer, and it's like every day is a gift, and you hear that phrase, and every gig is a gift now, and it's just like I'm just beyond humbled.
Yeah, we've talked about this, a few times, and I hate getting on the whole COVID soapbox, but these restrictions and lockdowns and quarantines and whatever you want to call them didn't affect the software engineers that are working from home on their computer, the stay-at-home moms that can afford to have the kids home and homeschool them, the white-collar, workers. It was the people who, it's the people who have to work, and need their kids in school because they're single moms and have 3 kids at 3 different schools and can't stay home and teach them because they have an essential job.
Yeah.
And the musicians and the bars and the food industry, the restaurant industry, lighting, the tourism staging industry. And so if you're anywhere, and that's been just the backwards thing about this, and nobody's, it's almost as if. And so that was really frustrating for me to see. It was frustrating for me when I was told, that my business couldn't. And I think I provide a pretty damn essential service, but we were told we couldn't do business for a couple months.
Yeah.
Or we can only do it if it was an emergency, but it was frustrating for me as a consumer and a lover of music. Yeah. Where I'm going to shows every week. Yep. I'm going to see a show somewhere. And I remember we saw Chris Knight. You know Chris Knight?
I love Chris Knight.
Chris Knight. Megan and I saw Chris Knight the day before everything shut down. And so I saw Mark Broussard like a couple weeks, and then Chris Knight the day before. And then it's like, really? Is this it? I can't go see music anymore? Yeah. I can't go sit in a restaurant anymore? And so anyways, I'll get off that.
Well, I think for one of the things that gets pulled away from here is your humility. And I think, John, one of the things that I grasp is, just like Brandon, music feeds me. Yeah. And just like your best friend from college. Yeah. Live music feeds me. Yeah. I have to see live music. It's something that I need. And even during COVID, I cheated a lot. I have friends who play music, and I would have them over, or I would go to their house. But your gift is so essential to us, even though, and I'll speak for me, not Brandon, I can't sing, I can't play an instrument. I'm a consumer. I like that you say that. I am. I love just being around, and we have this platform, I think selfishly, so we can have one. Hey, honestly. But I think it just speaks to who you are and who I've gotten to know. And I think this is a perfect time for Handsome Dan to hand you your guitar. Okay. And play us a song, brother. Yeah. And we keep the mics open right now, so you can talk it up. You said that you wanted to play. Yeah. Let's get Dan. Do you mind giving him some more tequila, please?
Yeah. Thank you.
And he'll get you all set up, man. He will. We're in no rush. We tape this, so Dan always feels rushed. I tell him, don't feel rushed.
Yeah, we got time.
Hurry, Dan. Why are you going so slow?
So actually, I do need my capo. So in that little,
he knows.
I'll probably do this like kind of here. This is going to end up, in the little section there.
Hey, it's next to that big black.
My Theragun.
Yeah,
is that what we're calling it?
the double-sided Theragun, 12 inches long. How was that getting that through TSA today?
Nashville TSA
double-sided
is
black
like
guy.
Just they've seen it all. It's a town full of musicians and degenerates. Yeah. Bachelorette parties coming in.
Mm-hmm. It's like awkward if you don't have a double-sided dildo when you travel.
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
TSA.
So when a man and a woman love each other very much.
Yes.
Sorry. When a man needs to prove to a woman. So I wrote this song. Was this a COVID song?
We said about a year ago, right?
Well, no, I released it in April of this last year, but I guess it was a COVID song. So when I had that kind of forced hiatus from getting to play shows and travel and do part of my job that I've always loved performing. But COVID, one of the things that COVID also taught me is to really dive into songwriting and love it. And I'm very blessed that one of my best friends in Nashville is a singer-songwriter named Dave Pahanish. And Dave, he's an accomplished songwriter. He's 4 number 1 hits. Wow. And we work really well together. We are both super weird about movies and just, I mean, I think twice a year we watch Young Frankenstein together and just laugh our heads off. And Dave and I were kind of talking. I had this idea that we basically scrapped, and then he started talking to me about how he met his wife, and we wrote the song called "Shine On," and I released it last year. You can find it on streaming platforms and all those kind of things. So here we go.
Thank you.
They had his little darling with a diamond sparkle in her eyes. A passionate girl out to set the whole world on fire. Somebody came and put out the flame and left you standing alone in the dark without a spark to light your way. So you drifted along with the sad song playing in your head. In places with faces you thought you'd never be caught dead. Dry your eyes, the rain outside's done falling. The sun's peeking out from the clouds, it's a brand new day. And hey, I know you've been through some hard times. The light in your heart still glows in the dark. Well, girl, it used to burn so bright. Close your eyes, everything's alright. Somewhere in the deep dark night, you're shining like a brand new dime. Yeah, I wanna see you shine on. Well, lightning flashed and thunder crashed when I first saw you. Hiding beneath the shadow of a blue moon neon sign. I caught your eye for a moment in time, we both lit up like fireworks bursting on the 4th of July. And hey, I know you've been through some hard times. The light in your heart still glows in the dark. Well, girl, it used to burn so bright. Close your eyes, everything's alright. Somewhere in the deep dark night, you're shining like a brand new dime. Oh, yeah, I wanna see you shine on. And hey, I know you've been through some real hard times. The light in your heart still glows in the dark. Well, girl, it used to burn so bright. Close your eyes, everything's alright. Somewhere in the deep dark night, you're shining like a brand new dime. Oh, I wanna see you shine on. Yeah, I wanna see you shine on.
Hey, yes. Come on.
Love it.
Thank you.
Oh, Goolsby.
I'll just leave that right there. Yeah, it's good right there. I'm not
are we doing here? Across the streams.
There we go. We got it now.
What were you getting ready to say? Not a what?
I'm not a stream crosser.
No, I was going to say that's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
I love that song. And, you know, even more so than like what I love about writing with Dave is a lot of times we end up writing songs that are, even though they could be specific, they're just the themes. He's really great at finding themes and finding things. So we wrote a song with one of my roommates during that time.
Mhm.
That another friend of ours is going to cut and release this next year. And it was just like a joke that started, you know, like
Right.
he had this idea and he plays it and like an hour later we're done. And it's like,
Well,
all right, I guess that worked out well.
That's one of the things. So one of the things we like to ask the artists who come on here, Brian, is we say, man, what is your writing process like? Is it an idea? Do you wake up with something and go, man, I got to write it down? Is it scheduled?
It's
Are
all
you
of
a
those
yellow
things.
notebook guy? Do you use the iPhone? Like, what's your process?
So for me, I would say 90% of it, I'm a lyrical guy.
Yeah.
So I've always been, you know, just the idea of connecting via lyrics has always been something that for me is pretty essential for
Okay.
as a consumer as well as a creator.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I always have, you know, sometimes it's like a conversation where, like I wrote one of the last songs I wrote this year with my friend Dustin Christensen, who you guys might know as Dusty Summerwind.
I would know.
Parked
that
Out by
name.
the Lake. Do you remember that song?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you guys got. Oh, we'll listen
How's
to
it
that
go?
later.
Real quick, just real quick.
Well, I'm parked out by the lake, 80 miles from Santa Fe. It's a lake that I'm parked down. It's just outside of Santa Fe. It's literally that's the entire lyrics to the song. He wrote it as kind of like how Nashville country can kind of be this like,
Yeah.
who cares? The lyrics are drivel. Just listen to this beat, listen to the music, listen to the
Right.
melody, and it's got like millions of streams, tens of millions of streams. And he wrote it as a joke, and I love it.
That's
But
awesome.
but I was hanging out with some friends and back home this past summer, and somebody said, "Well, you know, Daryl, he's small town famous." And I was like, "Okay, write that one in there
Yeah,
and
yeah.
save that." And so I
Yeah.
went to Dustin. I was like, "What about this idea?" And it's very Mellencamp-esque and pretty fun. And but you know, sometimes it'll just be something over here. My favorite thing is, especially when writing, like Dave is kind of a mumbler.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of hard of hearing. And so sometimes he'll mumble. I'm like, did you say this? And he was like, I did now. Like,
Yeah.
that's great. Let's
You mean
use
like
that.
all 90s music that I
Yeah, right.
still am realizing what the lyrics were
Yeah.
to Jeremy? Okay. I
Well,
got you.
or even, you know,
Yeah.
the fact that Semi-Charm Kind of Life is
yes.
about the old Chasing the Dragon. the
Yes.
mess, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, no,
Yeah.
some light kind
I know. And here we are. Do, do, do.
Yeah,
do,
but
do,
that's the
do,
thing.
do,
That's,
do,
I love Paul McCartney because Paul McCartney writes the saddest bastard songs,
do.
but they're kind of peppy and fun.
Yeah.
And you just like,
Yeah.
you listen to the lyrics and you're like, this is about depression. Like, this is crazy. So like, yes, it's scheduled. I try to
Okay.
write 5 days a week.
Wow.
I try to schedule it.
And you're like,
I am
boom.
not a solo writer.
Okay. So you got to bounce.
Well, I can, but I have found that even if I write something, so one of the other songs I'll play, I wrote about 2/3 of it by myself. And I was just kind of frustrated with where it was. I feel I'm like, something's missing here. So I took it to Dave and you know, within an hour or so, it's like, change this, do this, do this. And I enjoy the collaborative process of songwriting
It's,
for
you know,
sure.
Ben Brock said the same thing. He likes to bring it to a certain space, and then it's almost like an affirmation or an accountability. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Where could it
Is
go?
this shit
And-
or is this good? Like
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. So when I first moved to Nashville, or first started coming to Nashville in 2013,
Mhm.
one of my songwriting heroes, and very grateful to call him one of my best friends. He actually moved to Austin a couple years ago. I think we're gonna hang out tomorrow, and he was playing in Kansas City. I was opening up, and I had just written a bunch of new songs. I was super proud of him, and so I said, "And Andy, I know you didn't say this, but this is what I heard." Because I'm a no bullshitter guy. Like,
awesome.
tell me how you think,
Right.
what you feel. I
Right.
don't want you to say, yeah, that's great. And then I find out later you told somebody it was shit. Like
Yeah.
just be honest. Honesty for me that's just my personality.
Right.
And so I came to Andy. I was like, what'd you think? And he goes, you cover up mediocre songwriting with great vocals.
Whoa.
And I was like,
Whoa.
how do I get better at writing songs? He's
There
like,
you
come to
go.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so within 6 months, once a month for a week, he and I would write. And that's how I got my first record.
you
you know,
cover up mediocre
Songwriting with great vocals.
Wow.
And I still do, but the songs have gotten better.
So what did you change?
Yeah, there you
Well, that's
go.
the thing. The collaborative process really showed me. I just got around really good songwriters, and so
Wow,
the
you
big
kind of feel the
yeah,
vibe,
it's learning. You know, it's like you said. At some point in time, music can be a gift, but it's also a muscle.
nice.
You know, there you talk about some of the great writers of the 20th century, and they would talk about I write every day.
Right.
I might throw it away afterwards, but
Mhm.
it is just like keeping in shape with your
Mhm.
physical body, keeping your mind in shape, and keeping and a lot of songwriting is that kind of it's themes and it's
Right.
it's truths and lies, and how do you weave those together to make something that you're proud of. And that's the other thing about songwriting. I've come to the conclusion, having written with some top 40 artists and some great songwriters that have massive hits, I am less interested in writing a hit song and more interested in writing the best song I've ever written.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Kaylee and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
And I just wrote with an old friend a couple days ago. We started one he's more of a top 40 guy.
Right.
And I just was like, what? Okay, how about this? He was like, oh, I love that. That's some real life kind of stuff.
Right.
I was just talking about a boy girl song that's
Yeah.
stupid,
So you've come to the realization that it's the best song. You don't need necessarily the arenas. Where do you think your goals are at now for your music? I mean, what kind of ideas do you have for where you want to be with your music? Do you have a
That's a
list
good
of
question,
people,
bro.
that you still haven't written with that you want to write with?
I mean, yeah,
Who's-
it's funny. There are a couple people that I wrote with when I first started going to Nashville that have now way past me. And I can't write with them anymore. I would love to write with a couple of those guys again. And that's kind of one of those things where as I keep progressing, there are people that I want to write with that I haven't yet. I mean, but even in the last year, I've known Adam Hood for a decade, and it took COVID for me to work up the grapes to say, can we write sometime?
Adam's
And he
awesome.
literally told me, I've been wondering when you were going to ask me.
Wow.
And that in my life, that is one thing when it comes to that. I will probably wait too long to ask for a favor.
Yeah.
Or what I see as a favor. Adam has told me repeatedly, it is not a favor to write songs with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. We get good songs.
So
Take
who's
the
who's next? Who are you working up the grapes to ask next?
Brent Cobb already canceled on me.
Oh,
What a
put that out there,
What a
Brent.
dick. No,
Asshole.
he had some studio stuff that came up. Honestly, Sean McConnell, we kind of know each other, just hasn't worked out yet.
Matthew Allard.
I would say yes. I would say I would love to write with Radney Foster.
Oh, come on.
He's somebody that
What a legend.
yeah.
Come on. Even with the new hair.
And
Oh,
then
sorry.
and then I think part of it's kind of weird, not really being a fan of the Morgan Wallen
Yeah, that scene.
that scene.
Right. He puts out some good songs, man.
Well, who's the blonde-haired guy?
That does they just did Flower Shop.
Otis or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, you with the hair?
No, he has
Yeah. But it's like I've heard Flower Shop and
Ernest.
Ernest.
And he's got a hell of a podcast, by the
Yeah.
way. I'll even promote his podcast. It's awesome.
Well, I saw him at the Ryman this last summer.
Yeah.
And I was just
Ernest.
like
He was a rapper.
Oh,
Trying
yeah.
to sing it. Dude, he's amazing.
live, like just him on acoustic guitar.
Yep,
And I
he's
was like,
amazing.
I can get
Amazing.
into this. Like,
Yeah.
this is great. Part of Nashville that really I struggle with is the production.
Yep.
I'm such a fan of older music that I feel like a lot of what happens is it just ends up being kind of glossy and sheeny,
Mhm.
which makes me question its authenticity.
Mhm.
And then Wade Bowen is somebody that I pitched him a couple songs last year for his new project.
That's good. Pete.
He didn't pick any of them,
Right.
but he was gracious enough to shoot me a text and go, I
He
love these
listens to it,
songs.
yeah.
Keep it up. You
Yeah.
know?
You know, I this is, and there's consistencies in every business, I think. And this is just like our business, I think, when we're working with physicians and patients and this kind of stuff. And then I'm sure in the music industry, it's the persistence that pays off.
Yeah.
Would you say that? I
yeah.
mean,
Well, in Nashville, they don't call it a 10-year town because it takes 10 years to make it. It takes 10 years for people to remember your fucking name.
yeah.
Like,
I like that.
Andy used to say, like, you get your unofficial Nashville 10-year badge and people start to remember, oh yeah, that's Goolsby. And fortunately for me, I didn't tell anybody that I didn't live there when I started going there 8 years ago. So I literally have people that, you know, now when they ask me, where are you at? Oh, I'm in East, you know, we're just off Gallatin. They're like, oh, okay, cool. But 8 years ago, I was like, oh, I'm just kind of crashing at a buddy's house right now in between. And I basically lied through my teeth, but I didn't tell anybody. And so I thankfully
was the
have been able
truth
to,
in a way. Yeah.
I've been able to build a little bit of kind of skip some of that, you know? But I actually want to turn the tables on you guys for a second.
Let's do it.
So that we can talk about some sleep stuff.
I was
'Cause
getting
I have
ready
a
to
ton of
pivot.
questions.
All right,
Okay.
come on. You're with this.
I don't
guy.
have any answers.
Oh, bull.
I think you're the first guest to ever have questions, so thank you.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not true. Mark
Really?
had some very
Mark
interesting
Mark had a
questions.
great question right at the end. Oh, I want to hear all
What,
about
the
that.
simulation? We're in a matrix?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not going there, are you?
No, I don't. Okay, here's my theory on all of that. It's the same thing I tell people growing up as a pastor's son, went to a
Okay.
Christian school.
Right.
People ask me, is the story of creation true or not?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. I wasn't there. I can't prove it either way.
There you go.
I cannot prove that we're in a simulation. I cannot prove
Oh,
that the
man.
matrix is real.
Oh,
so I
man.
don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm out. Like it is not
I'm
on
with
my,
you.
it
I
is
want to
not
be
on
in the moment.
I'm
yeah.
not operating and devoting brain power or emotional anxiety to either one of those ideas.
All right. What questions
So-
you got for us? Let's do this.
So when it comes to healthy sleep habits,
yes.
I know that consistency is key.
Yep.
Should I be really active? So like I use an app that monitors my sleep, that through my watch monitors heartbeat and stuff like that. What other things can I actively be doing and for instance, I know eating or drinking right before you go to bed is going to affect
Hold on.
you.
We're going to bring Charlotte in here. Charlotte. No, I'm kidding. We just had his daughter on the podcast and
The 7-year-old.
That's awesome.
His 7-year-old. She let us know how to sleep right. Go ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing for you guys, and you guys being musicians,
Mhm.
it's the shift work.
Mhm.
Shift work is a motherfucker. We see the,
Yeah.
the 24-hour shifts, the hospital shifts for doctors and nurses,
Mhm.
the people who work at hotels at night, that, anybody who's working late or overnight, it just completely throws off that whole circadian rhythm.
So my natural circadian rhythm is about 2 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Perfect.
That's great.
So
That's 7 hours.
if I have to stay up or
On a random night?
on a random night, I will just force myself to sleep late.
Yeah. And if you can do that,
Yeah.
I think it's,
Well, I'm a big fan of blackout curtains.
well, yeah.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Yeah, I love that band. They had that hit in the 80s, right?
yeah.
They opened up
Yeah,
for
it's called-
Metallica.
Yeah.
Blackout Curtains.
Peek behind the curtain.
Sorry.
Hey, can you pull that closer to you?
Just a little bit. Yeah. Like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I should know this. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
So the key is, yes, if you can get 7 hours of good quality sleep, meaning if your circadian rhythm takes you after the sun comes up, having the blackout curtains, making sure it's still quiet, all that kind of thing. My problem is if I stay up late, I'm still getting up
Me too.
early
Yeah.
because I naturally wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So if you can get consistently, the 7.5 hours, you're probably doing pretty good. Obviously, the more you can wind down and have like a routine before bedtime, the better off you're going to be. So in terms of falling asleep, do you have trouble falling asleep when it's time to sleep?
Every night.
Yeah.
And that can be because I was out playing a show, or I'm just, when I start to close my eyes, song ideas and what
So the mind
especially
goes.
like Wednesday night, I had a writing session Thursday with a friend of mine, but it's the first time we were writing together. And I wasn't anxious in the sense, it was just like, I started going over in my head, like, okay, what are some song ideas that I know he's going to really dig? And
Yeah.
the next thing I know, it's 2 hours later and I'm like, shit,
Well, but see, that's what anxiety and anxiousness does is you're up and you're thinking about the next day. You're thinking about the next week. You're thinking about
So how do I shut that
all
off?
the things. Well, that's the hard part. So
Yeah.
meditation
Okay.
is good. We talked about breathing with Charlotte. We talked about focusing on your breath and breathing. You know, what I found works for me is because I got a shit ton of stuff going on. I mean,
Yeah.
I just have a million things between all the businesses, the kids, the travel, the family, the girl. She does exist.
Right.
And Jenny. So, you know, when I go to bed every night, I look at my calendar for the next day. And I'm like, okay, here's what I got to do tomorrow. So now I know I've got a preview of what I need to do tomorrow. And then on my nightstand is a notepad. And if there's anything in my head at all about, you know, what's bothering me, an idea, a business idea, someone I need to call. Like last night, it was like, oh, I need to get this for the hamburgers. Like, don't forget tomatoes. I just write it down. You know, I just like jot it down.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, that's a physical way of clearing my mind.
It's almost like, releasing it.
I'm once I've written it down, I don't have to worry about it anymore because I wrote it down.
It's interesting. I'm a big fan because even though I use my phone to write, if I write something down, that's how I got through college. I took great notes and I never really had to study.
Yeah.
Because once I hear it and I write it down, it's there.
So, John, I travel probably more than most musicians,
Uh-huh.
and it's about consistency. So, as silly as this sounds, I sleep with the same blanket, the same head pillow, the same heating pad, the same everything, the same. Wear the same thing to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Not being funny.
Yeah.
Every night, it's consistent. So there could be some later nights where I'm taking customers out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to music. But like Brandon, I get up 4 a.m. every morning, no matter what. I know, trust me. But it's about that consistent pattern to my body knows it's almost trained where I have this blanket that I lay down and a blanket that I sleep under. And I take it with me everywhere.
Yeah.
Same head pillow, same that once I get in those clothes, it's almost, I've conditioned myself almost like Pavlov.
Yeah. Very Pavlov.
And that has helped me
Yep.
go right to sleep. You have an app, and I think that is great. It's how you're using that.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon gave some advice on one of our podcasts that was awesome. That's just a gauge. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just so you're checking in.
Yeah.
And it's important that you're checking in because you
Yeah.
care about your sleep.
Yep.
But don't make that everything because then that'll get in your
Yeah.
head.
You're worried about
You'll wake
is it
up that
tracking
morning and
back?
go, well, I didn't
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, like
This-
I'm notorious for not charging my watch,
Okay.
and that's what tracks my. So like there are
Right.
nights when it doesn't track my
Yeah.
my heart rate and
my-
stuff like that. And,
and-
I wouldn't say that I'm married
And my
to
final thing that I will say, because
Uh-huh.
you've known me a long time,
Mm-hmm.
is fitness. You've
Yeah.
got to do something.
During the day.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
I'm a big believer, okay, and I just am. I'm just a big believer that just move. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving you some crazy workout routine. I'm not telling you how to eat, how I eat.
Yeah.
But you could just go for a
move.
15-minute walk.
Just move.
Yeah.
Just move. That helps. Brandon tells great about melatonin. People like to pop melatonin, but get out, get some sunlight, get
Yeah.
some vitamin D without the sunglasses on. So
Mhm.
there's little things like that that could work for you.
Yep.
What works for me is that consistent pattern that I do every single, no matter what hotel I'm in, no matter what town I'm in, it's the same thing I do. And that's helped me.
So now to the sleep apnea questions.
Yeah. You snore?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You've been tested?
I've not been tested. I don't think I necessarily have it. The jaw thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, hold on. When we're sleeping together tonight, I'll just record you.
Well, I have recordings on my phone. That's one of the things that the app does is
Yeah.
tracks when I start to snore, it'll record it.
Ooh.
And I can hear the differences of like, okay, so when I'm in REM, this is how I snore.
Mhm.
When I'm falling asleep, I typically don't snore for like the first hour and a half unless I've been drinking.
Are you full-time in Nashville now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll talk after podcast.
Yeah.
I'd love to get you an HST,
Yeah.
home sleep testing. And then, I might know some people.
If you snore, you should take a test.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Because I've noticed after watching some of the videos that you've posted,
Mhm.
if I push my lower jaw out just a little bit,
Mhm.
my tongue doesn't rest on the roof of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And I can breathe through my nose. I breathe through my nose. I don't breathe through my mouth.
Good. That's
And-
good.
But I've had friends that are like, you have sleep apnea. And I'm like, my definition of sleep apnea is stopping breathing.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't do that. I take very slow, deep breaths, but my rhythm is pretty consistent.
But you don't know.
Well, I can put it to you this way.
Well,
I don't
think
have
you
8
said-
hours
hold on.
worth of recording.
Yes.
In all
but my
fairness,
phone is
John, you
recording.
said, well, my definition of sleep.
I was going to
apnea-
say.
Yeah.
Well, my definition of sleep. No. Sleep
What I
apnea is
understand the
sleep apnea.
classic,
Yeah.
So-
what I understand the classic definition to be.
I think it was Philip that had this, and he said, one of the what he
That's
says
where that
is
goes.
we like to get an X-ray of your sleep, and that's what the sleep test is. So
Yeah, that was
you
good.
might fall and hurt your arm,
Mhm.
and it may not be sticking out of your skin broken, but you may still have a broken arm.
Yeah.
You may still have a fracture. It's just a degree of a fracture.
Do you have an X-ray for my heart?
Is it broken?
Is it
It is. I'm sorry, too cheesy. No, I think I'm sorry. Did I really let you down on that one? I did. Didn't I? I really did let you down.
You were
on that
teaching my brother dad jokes.
one. Oh no.
He's got a 1-year-old
All
now.
right. Let's hear him. I got some good dad jokes.
I'd have
got
to. Yeah,
I got a
he's
great
getting
dad
better.
joke.
He's getting better. Let's hear your dad joke.
You've heard the phrase "too soon."
Mm-hmm.
Something tragic happens
Yeah,
and
yeah.
somebody makes light of it.
Yeah, they go too soon.
I don't believe in too soon.
Okay.
There is too late.
Oh.
For instance, this last September, I posted to Twitter, man, 20 years since 9/11, time's really flown by. And I got to be honest, that joke didn't take off or land like I thought it was going to. I mean, it really crashed and burned.
Crashed
That's a
and
dad
burned.
joke.
Crashed and burned. Crashed and burned.
Right,
Yeah.
so
I've
we're gonna
actually
play
been thinking
another
about
song
doing
now.
stand-up comedy.
There's a
Well, you- by the
there's
way,
a good
So what people don't know is that this man, and I'm so glad you dressed like you dressed today. So one of the things that I love about John is I don't know if we tried to one up each other every year when we'd show up places.
I think we try to one up ourselves every year.
So when I am at a festival, I'm not work mode. I have fun. I love having fun, and I'm kind of known for wearing outfits and stuff. But this guy takes it to a whole nother level. To if you go to the Mile Zero Fest lineup right now, they have a picture of Magnum PI Tom Selleck as you. And like they said,
Yeah.
John Goolsby will be on it, and it's literally
Yeah.
Tom Selleck.
And what's
you
funny is that
literally-
Kyle said no to that.
Oh,
And Kim, the
Yes.
social media guru for them,
oh,
just went ahead and sent him like, this is what it's going to look like. And he was like,
oh.
okay.
That
Okay.
was so good. So he literally dresses in the
Larry Bird,
skimpiest shorts,
Larry Bird.
Yeah.
the tightest Miami. What do they call flower shirt?
Yeah, Hawaiian shirts.
The-
But
you
here's the
shaved,
thing.
you had the
I'm
mustache.
very
Oh.
particular about my Hawaiian shirts. I'm not a Hawaiian shirt guy,
Okay.
but the ones from Magnum PI, I have every Hawaiian shirt
Yeah.
from the show.
He
There's
is
a company in Hawaii that makes them,
You
and I
are,
spend way too much money on them, and I love them. Like they're perfect.
and
Yeah.
literally he'll sit up on that stool in those shorts. And he's
I know.
playing a beautiful song and the whole time.
I know. That's why I stand now, because
Oh,
otherwise,
yeah.
it's just they got to hose down the seats after the ladies leave.
All right, grab that guitar. Let's hear something
let's
else,
hear another
brother. I want to hear something else from you.
All right, I'm gonna play.
Coming at you.
I'm gonna play a song, another new one. Thank you,
Please,
sir.
man. Yeah, whatever you want to play is what we're going to play.
And
brother.
COVID.
got the Covis.
COVID.
I got Covis after playing a wedding on New Year's Eve, and about half of our band got it.
Mhm.
And one of my best friends, that when I'm back in Kansas City, who I stay with, he comes out. He's like, I just feel dirty, and I was like, you look dirty. I mean, like, look at you. It's like New Year's Day,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
just like, hair is just like up here, and hasn't showered since New Year's Eve. And
That's
he's
what's
just-
great about me. I don't have to shower because I don't have hair.
You don't have
it's
hair?
great. Yeah.
You're not a real alopecia. You
I'm
just play
not.
one on TV.
A fake one. What you got for us, brother?
All right, so this song's called Way Back Home. This is the most bluegrass song I've ever written in my life.
Let's do it.
And I actually think it's up here.
Like Joe Diffie? Bluegrass?
No,
All right.
more like Damn Quail's bluegrass.
Oh, let's do it.
Well, it's 2 a.m. Hear them bells chime again on my grandfather's clock down the hall. No, I ain't drunk, And I hate to press my luck, oh, but I just had to give you a call. Oh, I just had to give you a call. Hey, it's me again. I'm just checking in. Guess you're busy or you just don't want to talk. Lord knows how I hate all this silent space. But if that's what it takes to give you what you want. They say time heals all wounds, but I've tried and it ain't true. And I swear I can't make it on my own. So darling, if you feel the same way I do, sick and tired of the long nights alone, maybe, baby, you can find your way back home. Maybe, baby, you can make your way back home. It's a really great dobro solo on this part of the song. This old house ain't the same, just a shelter from the rain, cold and drafty, in bad need of repair. Lord knows it'd take more than a couple coats of paint to cover up all the memories that we shared. To cover up all the memories that we shared. They say time heals all wounds, but I've tried and it ain't true. And I swear I can't make it on my own. So darling, if you feel the same way I do, sick and tired of the long nights alone, maybe, baby, you can find your way back home. Maybe, baby, you can make your way back home. Maybe, baby, you can make your way back home.
I like that one.
I want you to stay right there, brother. Stay right there. That was beautiful. Play us one more. I want one more.
will.
Is that all right?
I want one more.
Mix it up
All
a
right.
little.
Fill it up again.
Mix it up a little. Mix it up a little. You know I can listen to you all day.
I could sing for you guys all day. Seriously, this is.
What do you
this
think
is
we're
awesome.
doing back at the hotel?
All right.
He's got a date with Jenny, who's coming in on a delayed flight.
So this is another song. So Dave Bahanish and I wrote all three of these songs. We probably wrote 30 songs last year.
Damn.
Well, sorry, in 2020. I think we only wrote like 10 in 2021.
Oh,
Well, because we just he got busy producing
Sure.
another couple. So he's producing my next record. We've currently got 4 songs in the can.
Let's talk about that for a second before
Yeah,
you play.
yeah.
Okay. I thought Handsome Dan told me something. I didn't know. Is your new record out now?
No,
I thought you said,
I released a single.
okay, released the single.
It doesn't even have a name yet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That
Okay.
was that. The Midwest is almost a decade old from when it was recorded.
Look how young.
8 years old as of this year recorded. 6 years old as of
Wow.
release date. I know, and it just kind of took. I was so busy
Yeah.
playing that I just didn't. Like that's part of what when I say about 2020 that really taught me to make more time. And
Good for you.
I wrote almost 80 songs in 2020.
So this new album, do we have a release date or is it just okay?
No,
But you had the single out.
got the one single, and that was really
Okay.
part of it was because I was playing Mile Zero Fest.
Yep.
And it had been 5 years, and I told my manager, I was like, I need to do something. My manager comes from a very
Yeah, I've met him.
large pedigree, long and distinguished, Eric Church, Black Keys,
Yep. He's done very well.
a whole bunch of different people, but we're not releasing this thing without a plan.
Good.
you've released music without plans. How's that worked out for you?
Yeah.
You know, so which is great to have someone who is thinking that way. It just means that when it's done, we're going to figure that out. But we're not even done recording yet because Dave has been working with other artists and doing some different things. So, and he's charging me a very fair rate. And so with that comes the caveat of he's not dropping everything, you know, which I'm okay with it. So, but we wrote this song. This is the one that I was telling you guys earlier. It took 2 months to write.
Yeah.
And it's called The Great Divide.
Thank you.
Well, we both know it's over. It's as clear as the tears in your eyes. Yeah, we saw this coming. There's no need to act so surprised. And facing the truth is harder than living a lie. Still, there's no way around it. Just kiss me and say goodbye. And so long, Karina, it hurts me to see you so sad. If it makes you feel better, you're the best that I ever had. Our love runs deep, but the space in between is too wide. Still, I wish you the best from across the great divide. Well, I've heard more than once, if you love someone, set them free. We know that I love you, but our love just ain't meant to be. I know you feel safe in my shadow, but you're meant to shine. Out there in the spotlight, just you, with no place to hide. So long, Karina, it hurts me to see you so sad. If it makes you feel better, you're the best that I ever had. Our love runs deep, but space in between is too wide. Still, I wish you the best from across the great divide. Still, I wish you the best from across the great divide. Great divide. Well, we both know it's over. It's as clear as the tears in your eyes.
Wow.
That's a new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
My gosh.
On the
dude.
new yet to be named or dated.
Right now my gut instinct is to title the next album John Goolsby, A Cautionary Tale. But I don't know if that's going to be the final title.
Man.
So
Man, that song spoke.
well, it's just a little background on that song. I came with the Great Divide idea, and then we started writing. We got the first verse done, kind of part of the chorus, and it was kind of like more of a cowboy rides away kind of thing.
Yeah, who's Karina?
Okay, this is one of those magical songwriting moments. Dave and I both
Dated the same girl.
No, no, but we did. There was that one time that we both said that name at almost the identical time, and it just kind of popped into my brain, popped into his head, and I said, I think like Kareen. He was like, Kareen, are you serious right now? Like he and I have that happen a lot where we're very simpatico, which is fun. But then he watched A Star Is Born like 2 weeks into us starting that song, and he was like, man, I don't want this to be a Cowboy Rides Away song. I want it to be something like somebody loves someone so much that they want to set them free.
Well, so I was going to ask you that lyric, and I apologize. Only time I've ever heard this. When you say, I know you're comfortable in my shadow, but I want you to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. That's part of what it was. It's like, I envision this being like a guy who loves a girl so much and she is content to just be with him and be his sidekick. And he's like, no, you are so worth your own spotlight.
What a great song, dude.
So thank you.
Great song. Congrats.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. Thank you.
Everything I love about it, man. Of course, your range is sick, but
well, I was finally warmed up. You know, sometimes like doing radio stuff and things like that, it's like 8 a.m. and I'm like, whoa. But waking up at 5, I've been awake for a while. Like my voice is
ready to go.
My voice is as warm as it's gonna get.
Well, and 3 glasses of tequila won't hurt.
That's right.
It's only 2, I think. Unless you have one out there.
I'm professional.
You are very. By the way, you are. I've known you.
Consummate professional.
We are coming up on that time, though.
Yes.
And so, with all jokes aside, Brandon has his kiddos, and Jenny is coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm always respectful of his time.
I, on the other hand, am not. So what are we having for dinner again? No.
Dinner. So we got lamb.
Hey,
and Wagyu beef burgers. And
Don't get me
we're
started.
debating on whether
there's no debate.
whether or not we should mix the lamb with the beef.
Put that poll out there.
I say yes.
No, it's not good.
I think
Tell
it
me what
could-
poll it is. I'll do
Yes.
it.
I think it
right
could
now.
be a good flavor mixture.
I do too, because I love.
And I'm going to put mushrooms in it too. Like chop up the mushrooms.
If you guys are willing to have me back, we'll talk about Afghanistan a little bit. But I lived there for 8 months.
Yeah.
And
No pressure.
I fell in love with
Lamb.
mutton. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I came back here and actually had good mutton.
I've never met a girl named Mutton before.
Yeah.
I dated a couple girls that you could call hogs, but
Way to hook yourself back into the next.
I've been hogging, man. I've been hogging.
It's one of those,
what? And
the
on that
fictional
note-
Karina.
And on that,
You know what? Because I learned this in college. You want to raise your average, you got to lower your standards.
Oh.
you know what? You're a bright man and a great friend. You know, I love you.
I love you too,
Thank
man.
you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
It's my
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Dr.
Appreciate
Brandon,
it.
thank you.
Cheers, and thank you for sleeping around with Dr. Brandon and Matthew.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Brother. Love you. We're
Love
going to
it.
have fun tonight, though.
Yes.
Get ready.
I'm going to have fun tonight too.
Yeah. If you get that out of his case over there, double-headed thing.
That's what we like to call everybody wins.
And the moon is high. We'll be chasing stars till the morning light. Come